And welcome, Finger Lakes basketball fans, to another edition of the Upstate Hoops podcast on FingerLakes1.tv. We're coming at you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. It's March 6th, 2014, and this is our 16th and final episode of the 2013-14 season. I'm Jim Sinacropia alongside my co-host Matt Verkey, and what a week of basketball we saw. Geneva, Bloomfield, Clyde-Savannah all capture sectional titles. Only one would eventually advance to the state tournament after the qualifying rounds. And on the girls' side, Wayne, Romulus, Waterloo, and Lions all were crowned sectional champs. The Upstate Hoops podcast is brought to you by Generations Bank. Generations of service since, for over 140 years. Visit them online at mygenbank.com. And also by Red's Place, serving great lunches daily in downtown Seneca Falls. Come down and watch all the big games on one of their 10 flat-screen TVs. And Seneca Meadows Landfill, responsible waste management for the next generation. See how they do it by watching their videos at senecameadows.com. Well, Verk, we saw a lot of basketball this week. Went to the big house a number of times, which is always fun. And in the end, we've been talking about them, since week one. Clyde-Savannah moves on to the state championship round. And, so congratulations to all those guys. Joe Faniel, Cam DeSanto, Joe Maine Bogan, Michael Turner, Jason Doig, Cal Felker, Jarrett Murray, the freshman.
Yeah, they've really turned up the defense here the last couple of games. Coach Jackson commented he thought Cal Mum was the best they had played defensively all year, and then they went and topped that and held Perry to 40 points. Pretty high-scoring Perry team, actually, and obviously, he has the team focused in on defensively. They got a tough challenge coming up, and they play Buffalo Middle College, one of those
early middle college or something.
College,
yeah, boy.
It's a team Miners had played 3-4 years ago and really handed it to the Miners. I don't think they're as good as they were then. They've only won their last couple sectional games by a few points. So I think Clyde definitely has a chance. They got to go up to Buffalo. They're playing at Upstate, and that should be a great game.
Well, let's kick it back now to Saturday, March 1st, last Saturday. Some sectional finals up at the big house. In Class C1, Bloomfield, the Bloomfield Bombers, head coach John Masson captures sectional title with a 70-49 victory over Early College out of Section 5. And that was Bloomfield was a 1 seed, Early College was the 6 seed. But I think a lot of people going into that game thought, this is where Bloomfield's run's going to end.
Yeah, I thought Bloomfield had a pretty good chance in that game, and I didn't think they were going to win by that margin, obviously. Bloomfield came out and played great. Alex Flattery, 29 points, 12 rebounds. I think they saved their best game for that championship game, and something that's kind of eluded them since the 70s. They haven't won a title since then, and nice to see a longtime coach there. Nice to see them get that sectional title.
So the Finger Lakes West champ represents in Class C1. The class with the most Wayne Finger Lakes teams in it, and they come away with the sectional title. Along with Flattery's 29 points, Dylan Tatalian had 15, Brian Dolan had 10 points and 15 rebounds, and Austin Ferguson had 6 points and 13 rebounds. Then in the Class C2 game, a game that you could hear live on FingerLakes1.com, it was Clyde-Savannah 74, Cal Mum 47. You said it earlier, Verk, a great defensive effort. Clyde led by 15 at the half, 35-20. Joe Faniel continued his hot play of the second half of the season, 23 points, 3 3-pointers. Joe Maine Bogan had 22. Cam DeSanto back from the injury, although I hear he's still not 100%. 15 points, 10 rebounds. And then Michael Turner, 8 points, 11 rebounds. I think he had 2 blocks, but, man, I thought he had 4 or 5 blocks. I guess he got a couple of those they called fouls on him. But a huge win for Clyde. Back-to-back sectional championships for head coach Tim Jackson. And as I mentioned earlier, they're still alive. This win got them to 21-0. And
Yeah, again, kind of surprised at the margin. I thought Clyde was the favorite going in against Cal Mum. I knew I haven't seen Cal Mum play this year, obviously, but Cal Mum had some size, and I, kind of thought maybe that would, kind of neutralize Clyde's big men. But obviously, they didn't have any trouble. And we also mentioned, Joe Faniel. When he scores in the 20s, they're almost impossible to beat.
And I thought it was the best I've seen Clyde play all season. So peaking at the right time. We know they've been focused on this time of year. Joe Main, Joey Faniel, Cam DeSanto, all potentially facing their last game together, in a Clyde uniform. So nice to see him win that and move on. Then on Sunday, the next day, we saw Geneva play to their complete potential and just totally blow away Batavia in the Class A2 final, 63-30. And this was a Batavia team that just beat Newark the night, but and Newark and Geneva, co-Finger Lakes East champs. Geneva just opened up a big lead right off the bat, 30-11 at the half, and never looked back.
Yeah, and that's a Geneva team that survived an overtime game, in the semis and moved on and just really had a great game plan against Batavia. Shut down their top two players, and Batavia's real thin outside of those two. And
Justice Fagan and Jeff Redband.
Yeah, and those guys didn't have the greatest games, and when they're not scoring the ball, there's in the first half only one. Redband was the only guy who scored for Bloomfield.
I know, you never see
Batavia. That. So would have been nice if that was Newark. I think Batavia must have played one of their best games of the year to beat Newark, because I think Newark was the better team, I would say, obviously, and Batavia, Fagan had a great game, and they kind of stole a win there, but Geneva played well and just really, really dominated that whole game from start to finish.
Coach Miller told me that he said, Justice Fagan, look at this guy, and he was going to have Akia Jackson guard him. So Akia Jackson took the Newark Batavia game tape home, studied it, and came back and shut down Fagan. I think he had 4 points.
5 points. I think he had 3 and a 2, and that was it. Yeah, great job. And, obviously a big difference in this game in particular that they played recently is they made some 3-pointers, and, that always helps when
Stephen Dogas was 5 of 8.
Right.
And, he helped them build that lead. He was the tournament MVP, and, I thought that was well-deserved. I really thought Akia Jackson may have deserved it, though, too. But not to take anything away from Stephen Dolgus, but Akia had a great game in the semis when everybody else was struggling, and then the effort and the defensive performance against Justice Fagan in the final. So, but Dolgus had 19 points in the final. Trevor Doduro had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Jackson had 12. Terrell Johnson 6 points and 10 rebounds, including a sick dunk. Or was that the previous? That was a Northeast-Northwest game, but he had an alley-oop dunk in this one. Yeah, he's dunking all over the place. And then Ray Sims came back with a solid game after struggling in the semis, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. So Geneva's first sectional title since 1999. I think it's big for the city, and I think it's big for Coach Brian Miller. Congratulations, Coach, on your first sectional title. And 7 seniors on this team, be totally new look. This was kind of do or die this year in a tough, A class that Geneva's always playing in. And I felt really good for all those kids and for Coach Miller to get that sectional title.
Yeah, no doubt, especially after, last year only 2 losses were to Aquinas all year, and that, always leaves a bad taste in your mouth when, your only 2 losses are to a private school who typically plays up in AA. So a great job by Coach Miller and the entire team. Back-to-back, you mentioned it. They just are on a great run. Going to have some rebuilding to do next year, but nice to see Geneva bring home the title.
So now we move ahead to Monday, and we get into the regional qualifiers. And in the Class C qualifier, it was Perry versus Bloomfield. Winner would face Clyde, and this is where Bloomfield's run ends. Perry won 64-53. Mitch Cicero had 21 points to lead Perry, and Dylan Talion had 15. So Bloomfield's season ends at 19-3, sectional championship, Finger Lakes West championship. Congratulations, Coach Maston and all the kids, all the Bombers, on a great season. And then going on to Perry moved on to face Clyde, and this was just last night, right, Merck? On Wednesday night,
Yep.
and 51-40, Clyde wins, and another great all-around performance, defensive effort. It's almost as if Perry was a little bit of a easier opponent than their previous game, maybe. But we saw Perry beat Wheatland Chili pretty good in Rochester.
Yeah. No, Perry's a good team. I think Clyde had another good game, and obviously they didn't score a lot of points, 51-40. But Michael Turner had the big game. I think 13 points, 15 rebounds. And they're all steady. Just it just seems like they're playing well as a team. Not one guy really standing out, but they're all everybody's contributing.
DeSanto, 12 rebounds, only 6 points. And ankle still not 100%. Nice game for Jason Doig, 4 points, 8 assists. He's one of those guys that makes it all work. You don't have a guy like Jason Doig in with all these other players, then it's not going to work. He's obviously looking to get other guys their shots.
Yeah, he's reluctant to shoot almost. I think he almost, Coach Jackson's got to beg him to shoot the ball a little bit. And he's a capable shooter, but I think he realizes, there are better options out there, and he just does a tremendous job. Reminds me of like an Aaron Kraft type player who, doesn't really look to score too much, but when needed, he can get to the basket a little bit and does a great job of running the offense, and he's a great leader.
So Clyde-Savannah, I should mention Joey Faniel, 15 points in the win as well. For the first time since 2000, Clyde-Savannah enters the state tournament, and they trailed 8-3 in the first quarter, but then just turned it on, outscored Perry 24-8 over the rest of the half. The Eagles led by as many as 19 in the fourth quarter. Wasn't really a ball game at that point. And Coach Tim Jackson said it's been a fun ride so far. I'm really proud of the kids to hold a team like that to 40 points defensively. And so, when you're playing this good defensively and you have that many options offensively, sky's the limit. I mean, certainly proud of these kids and rooting hard for them and see if they can bring home a state championship, which is something Clyde did before, but it was
1993.
93
They won the state championship in football and basketball.
How many times you see that?
Not too often.
Then in the Class A game, also on Wednesday night, tough matchup for Geneva. They got to play East High. The Class A1, East comes away with a 61-48 victory, and Geneva's season ends at 19-3 with that sectional title and that Finger Lakes East Co-Championship. Ray Sims Jr. in his last game for the Panthers had 17. Terrell Johnson Jr. had 10 his last game for the Panthers. All these guys, it was their last game. Trevor Duro, 11. Stephen Dolgus, 5, and Akia Jackson, 4. And again, congratulations, Geneva, on a great season. But it's tough. Geneva always got to play against these best teams. When you get this deep, they're going to play against the best teams from the city.
Yeah, and it was Geneva was up 33-32, I believe, at halftime, and they had Dante Carruthers, the big, maybe the possibly All Greater Rochester Player of the Year for East.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the running. He'll be a first team, top 5 All Greater Rochester player. He had 3 fouls, and they were in a nice spot. He came out, and Geneva went on a nice run. Kind of took the lead there. But East is obviously very talented, and I think East kind of warmed down a little bit. And another big thing was, Geneva. It was like in the semis they couldn't make a shot. I think they were 0 for 14 or 15 from the 3-point line. So you're not going to beat East without making shots. And East knocked down a couple threes in that game and kind of got the margin up to double figures, and were able to hold on.
How many times did we go up to the Big House this weekend?
I went twice. I went during the week and then Sunday.
Oh yeah, we were up there Tuesday night for the semis. We talked about that last week. And then we went back up.
You went Saturday.
I went Saturday with Jeremy.
Zach.
Zach was there. Called that game with Dave Barnick. And then Sunday it was you and Brendan Harrington and our producer Jeremy Hunt and myself were back up there again. And it's a great time of the year. And anytime you get a chance to see a Wayne Finger Lakes team play up there, I love being up there. Popcorn's a little expensive. But and the Dinosaur Barbecue, 45-minute wait.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but we had to settle for the popcorn and diet sodas.
So we're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors one final time on the season. When we come back, we're going to look at all the sectional champions on the women's side or the girls' side. Take a look at the week ahead. We're 2 Wayne Finger Lakes teams are still alive between the boys and the girls. And then we'll take a look at maybe some of our top memories of what's been a great season and before we sign off for the summer. And we'll be right back.
We hold on to the things that really matter. Welcome to Generations Bank.
Hi, I'm Jody Torrio. If you're like me, you've got stuff lying around the house that you want to recycle, but you're just not sure how, like broken toasters, vacuum cleaners, or microwaves. At Seneca Meadows, we have a drop-off for those. Bring in anything with a cord, and we'll make sure it's recycled properly through our partnership with 2TRG. It's that easy.
And welcome back to the season finale of the Upstate Hoops podcast on FingerLakes1.tv, FingerLakes1.com. Some sectional championships for the ladies, Verk.
Yeah, it was the ladies side really had a great run. The Finger Lakes East had 5 teams playing in the sectional finals. Unfortunately, four of them were playing against other Finger Lakes East teams.
Right.
We had Wayne, who just totally stunned Geneva. Geneva's up 2 with the ball. They turn it over. Wayne gets it back, scores with a few seconds left. Geneva inbounds it. Wayne steals it, scores again. And Wayne just stunned Geneva. Heartbreaker for Coach Collins in that one. And then Waterloo beat Mid Lakes in pretty handily. Mid Lakes gave a pretty good game. Mid Lakes had the big upset over Palmyra. And,
everybody expecting we're going to see Waterloo Pelmac in the finals.
Right, and Palmac had beaten Waterloo twice.
Mm-hmm.
And then Waterloo went on to lose to a very good, Class C defending champion in the States in Bishop Kearney. And, Waterloo just close game, but Kearney was able to pull that one out. Then we had Lions, won sectionals. Great job, to the Lions. And then they beat Avon in the qualifying play-in, and then they went on. They lost to a Keshikaw team who had 10 3-pointers. And came up a little short, but great job by Coach Eric Kuhn. Lions, got a sectional title there, and then Romulus defeated Prattsburg, and they're going up to Buffalo or actually Buffalo's coming here to play them to play in to go to Glens Falls.
They're playing them in Canandaigua, right? FLCC.
Yes, all the girls games at FLCC. Yep.
Yeah, so the Romulus Warriors coming out of Class D1, legitimate shot at a state title.
I would think so. I mean, they're undefeated, and they've they've mowed down. In the semis they went to overtime, and then the finals they won by 20 points. So, Coach Damon Nicholson's got the girls playing well, and they got a lot of seniors on that team. Yeah. And I forget. I know the team they're playing. I just can't think of it right now. But it's a team that's been around. I think they're going to have their hands full. But obviously a game that Romulus can win.
Yeah, bunch of seniors. Played together for a long time. Don't know what it's like to lose this season. Same thing with Clyde-Savannah. So both these teams from the Wayne Finger Lakes that are moving on.
Pine Valley, that's who
out of Section 6. Pine Valley at 5:00 on Saturday on the Class D state tournament. And then for Clyde, it's Middle Early College, also out of Section 6, 1:45 p.m. at Buffalo State. 17-5 record for Middle Early College. It's hard to gauge off their record. They probably play some good teams out.
They play a lot of city schools, and the Buffalo schools, from catching a few of their scores are they're good. So this team's gonna be well tested. They're an inner city school. They're gonna get up and down the court. Should be a good matchup. And looking at Silver Creek, who played Miners last year?
Silver Creek beat them out of Section 6.
They beat Middle College last year.
Okay.
So, Miners gave them a great game, and, so I think Clyde has a fairly good chance in that game.
So, comparing them to last year, is this Clyde team better than last year's Miners team that won a sectional title?
I would think so. They got a little more balance, I think. The 1 through 5. Last year Miners, had kind of Brandon Pasalacqua, just a kid who really did a lot for Miners. Obviously, was missed this year, and they had Ruddy and some nice role players. This Clyde team, 1 through 5, they're just, I think they're a little bit more athletic, and and they shoot it just as good. They got the two big guys, and I think it should be a great game.
1:45 p.m. at Buffalo State, and as far as that arena goes, Verk, it's a little different than the big house. It's smaller, right?
Yeah, it's probably like playing at FLCC kind of, a little bit bigger than that probably. But yeah, it's not a big, it's not a War Memorial type setup, Blue Cross Arena. It will be smaller. And
how does that work? Do they get to go? They go a day early in practice, or they go the day of the game?
They'll go up that day. That's it,
So a 1:45 start. What time they leave in Clyde?
If they leave at 9:30, get up there at 11:30, get ready. We played. I can't remember when we went to States. I think we had like a 2:00 game, and I remember, we went up, and it's nice because all the teams are. That
was a tough win for you guys too. The semifinal matchup at Buffalo State.
Well, that was the quarters. These are all quarters.
So when you went up to Glens Falls, the semis.
The Final Four all go to Glens Falls. So every year, Section 5 plays Section 6 out of Buffalo, and the winner goes to Glens Falls. When we went up there, we played Buffalo Riverside, and they're in a city school, and they had some good size. They're like 6'7", but big guys weren't that good. They had some good guards, but we handled them pretty good.
Well, hopefully the same case for Clyde-Savannah. So good luck to them, and obviously good luck to the Lady Warriors against Pine Valley. So it's hard to believe this winter. This is our 16th episode. We started in November. Christmas season, New Year's, January, February, regular season. In between all the webcasts, we did 14 of them, and then adding on 5 postseason webcasts. We saw a lot of basketball this summer, and time flies, and so this is our last episode until November. But looking back on the year, a lot of great memories this year. One of them for me is just that Newark-Geneva rivalry kind of being renewed. Both of them were head-to-head, and a little disappointed we didn't get to see that final, but it was certainly fun trying to figure out which of those teams was better. 2 close games, Newark winning, or Geneva winning in Newark, and then Newark winning in Geneva.
Yeah, funny. They each won. The away team won both games, and we thought we were going to be seeing that big matchup at the Blue Cross, but Newark got upset obviously, and that never materialized. But yeah, big rivalry, and it's going to be a little different next year. Obviously, a lot of good players leaving the league this year, so the whole
Newark
league
should still be pretty strong.
Yeah, Newark will.
Derek Morris.
They'll probably be favored to win the league, I would think, next year.
Yeah, and good JV team. And a lot of times when we go up for these webcasts, we get to see the JV teams. And Newark had a good JV team. I don't know if they won the league,
I don't
the JV
know.
league
I'm not
or not,
sure
but they seem to always be winning their games pretty easily. Another great thing about this season, Verk, was getting to see Lions and Clyde play against Minders out of the East, and Minders took the brunt of it when they won 1 game. Of the 4, they opening. Our first game was Minders at Clyde. Clyde wins that. Then both teams came over Christmas break to Minders back-to-back nights, and Clyde really took it to Minders. Then the second game, Lions beat Minders.
Right.
And then when Minders went to Lions a couple weeks later,
that's when Ruddy had 40.
Ruddy had 40, and Minders won that game. But I love seeing.
Yeah, and as players, I think they like those games too. Sure. You could schedule, whoever and get an easy win. But I think as a player, you get up for those games. It draws some interest between the towns, and it's always
good crowds at each game.
Yeah, always fun to get out and play some competition from other leagues.
And heading into, look at where Clyde is now. Heading into the season, we went up to Clyde-Savannah High School and set up and did our first broadcast. I think it was Dave Barnick on the call, or was it Brendan?
That was me and Brendan and Corsi.
Yeah, 3-man booth, FL1 Sports, all stoked for the start of the season. And we were like, toss-up, at that point.
That game was close. I thought Clyde was going to win that game just based on, they brought so much back. It was, Minders was breaking in some new players. But, Minders played well in that game, and, it was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and then look where Clyde is now. They haven't lost.
I think Clyde's gotten a lot better.
Certainly,
year.
Certainly. Loved watching those girls at Waterloo play again, the seniors. Got to see them a few times. Had them up in studio, too. They were on Weber this week. and Lauren Deming, Lindsey Johnson, great careers, and knowing that this was her last year, it was fun to watch them play, and I really gotta love that Waterloo girls team, over the past few years.
Yeah, they last year they made a great run to the Class B finals, ended up losing to a great team, and this year came back with another sectional title, nothing to be ashamed of, and ran into a private school in Bishop Kearney who knocked them out of the tournament, but it'll be a new a new beginning next year.
Chelsea
for the Waterloo
Steinrich
team.
comes back,
Yeah,
so
they got some talent
good.
coming back. There's definitely.
And speaking of the girls, how about Seneca County girls basketball? Romulus with the dream season that continues. Young South Seneca team has a great season, and what was it? How every Seneca County team was playing in his first sectional title.
Minders, Romulus, South Seneca, and the Minders girls made a great run. Obviously, coming in 3-15, made it to the finals. I think they lost by 2 or 4 points.
Yeah.
Heidi Miller, an 8th grader, they called up, kind of led them out in scoring throughout sectionals.
We get to enjoy her for 4 more years.
The future's looking good in Minders. Coach Anderson's got some most of the key pieces coming back. So I look for them. The league's going to lose some great players, although Vanderwall's back for Palmyra next year. So Minders are going to be able to compete in the league a little bit better. I look for them to. Hopefully be above 500 in the league next year, and start to get better.
All right, Verk, top 3 dunks of the year. We saw a lot of dunks this year, more than we saw if I've ever seen. Give me your top 3. I'll tell you if I agree or
Terrell
not.
Johnson's the left-handed dunk he had
at the War Memorial, number 1.
And then I would have to say his alley-oop dunk at the War Memorial.
Oh, that was a nice one too.
Just because it was the pass, everything was perfect.
Yeah,
and. Man,
I like
Micah Wright at Waterloo.
Yeah, that was a old slammer dammer.
They were slammer dammers, and he had he had a couple good ones.
Joe Bogans had 4 bunks, but they were all pretty much just breakaway one-handed slams. He had a 2-handed slam in one of the games. Micah Wright had a couple slams. Justin Brace had a couple out of Dundee when we saw him play at Romulus. And geez, a lot of dunks. But, yeah, I guess we got to give the slam dunk crown to Terrell Johnson after that performance he put on at the Big House.
No doubt.
Hey, another great thing about this season was, once again, we got to see a great local matchup in Waterloo for the for this time it was for the semifinals in Class C2 with Lions playing Clyde. There's a little luster off it because a lot of Lions players were hurt. Three guys that play regularly weren't playing, and of course Cam DeSanto sat out. But it was a great game and a great atmosphere, and hopefully that's an annual occurrence that we get to see something like that, in that gym in Waterloo.
Yeah, last year we saw Clyde and Minders. It was a great crowd, great atmosphere, and you think about that game though. Lions comes in minus all these players, and they're a couple shots away from upsetting Clyde and changing history really.
Justin Olson hits a 3 to pull him within 2 with like a minute left, and then but Clyde closed it out, and a lot of Clyde's wins on this undefeated season have been close wins, and that was another one. It's amazing. It's similar to the way Syracuse tends to keep winning, because you figure somewhere along the line their luck's going to run out. Somebody's going to hit a couple big shots at the end, and maybe they're going to drop one, but they continue to get better even at this point in the season, and I think that their defense has been is the reason that they got a legitimate shot at this state title. What else this season? Finger Lakes West was tough. They were 4 or 5 deep. I mean, Marcus Whitman moved from the east to the west and had a great season. Naples, the defending league champs, thought they were going to lose a lot. They were competitive near the top of the league. And then Dundee and Bloomfield were battling head-to-head for most of the year, with Coach Les Miller's Dundee Scots losing some people to injuries, and Les Miller, Coach of the Year in Section Class C3, was it?
Yep.
Section 5 Coach of the Year. So congratulations, Coach Les Miller, and Coach Brian Miller was Coach of the Year in A2.
And Coach Hoyt from Whitman, or from Northwest Wolcott, was Coach of the Year.
Oh yeah,
Class
that's right.
B2.
That's right. So congratulations to those coaches, and
the coach from ER was Coach of the Year too, I believe, in C1.
Well deserved for all 4 of them. Deeper Wayne County, speaking of North Rose Wolcott and ER, that was a great league this year. Even though Clyde pretty much had a good stronghold on it most of the season, that league was 4, 5, 6 deep. 5 deep. Let's not say 6.
Gananda.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of those teams gave Clyde trouble. North Rose had him, had Clyde down there, and Red Creek even, gave Lions and Clyde some good games, and kind of had some. They're a team to get tough to judge because they played some of the top teams really tough. Then they lost to Williamson in sectionals, and but they returned Jacob Slobe.
That's what I was gonna say. That's one of the nice memories of this year is Jake Slobe. He kind of emerged as one of the best players in the league, and he comes back next year for his senior year. Give us something to look forward to. Try to get Red Creek on the webcast schedule next year for sure.
Yeah.
And finally, Newark's lost to Batavia. Watching that game, watching that be Micah Wright, Jamie Roster's last game, was kind of disappointing, but a great game to watch. Good battle. And then also in the semis that Tuesday night, Geneva's overtime win over Northeast Northwest was one of the wildest games of the year.
A lot of stuff going on in that game. Geneva was down. They came back. They should have won at regulation, and then the guy got the conventional 3-point play, and then they go on to win in overtime without Tarl Johnson in the lineup. So really, you think back, that was a gut check time for Geneva, and they were able to pull it out.
Absolutely. So, well, Verk, great season. We'll work on our suntans, maybe play a little golf or something for a while. We'll be back in November. And, obviously before we sign off, just good luck, Clyde. Good luck, Romulus.
Yeah, good luck both teams, and hopefully my dad will be watching you guys down in Glens Falls.
So that about wraps it up for this season of the Upstate Hoops Podcast. We'll be back next November for our 4th season. For our live viewers, the Upstate Orange Podcast is up next at 10, and that podcast continues for a few more weeks. And thanks for joining us. For my co-host, Matt Verkey, our producer, Jeremy Hunt, I'm Jim Sinacropi. See you next season.